Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now let's talk cruiserweights. And let's talk the cruiserweight. And that'll be OLEKSANDR USYK. Right? Let's focus in on this guy. This is probably one of the most incredible guys in boxing. Especially when you're talking about being a road warrior. This is probably, we're going to fathom it. We're going to focus on it. He has a big fight coming against Tony Bellew on November the 10th. Right? Now, first off, OLEKSANDR USYK is undisputed in the cruiserweight division, thanks to Khalid Sauerland and the WBSS tournament. Now, just the tournament alone, right? The tournament alone. I've mentioned it on several occasions, but we're going to fathom and focus on this guy only right here. Well, not only. We're going to talk a little Tony Bellew too. But at the end of the day, in that tournament, he starts it off going to Berlin and beat Marco Huck, who is a legend in the cruiserweight division. I think he has the most title defenses, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or one of the most in cruiserweight history, Marco Huck. Not easy to beat. Huck, can throw down, right? He's coming forward and he's just swinging. You think, like he's swinging. You think Deontay Wilder, wild. Marco Huck, wild, right? But beat him in Berlin, his backyard. Follows that up in the semifinals with Boris Briedis, right? A split decision Briedis in Latvia, in Briedis' backyard. And Briedis is probably the second best cruiserweight right now, to be honest with you. That's huge. But to go to the final and beat Mark Gassiev in Russia, his backyard, again. And on November the 10th, where's the fight going to be against Tony Bellew? Right? It's going to be in England. Road warrior, winning fights there, which means you're going to have to beat these guys pretty well because they're on their home turf. The crowd's cheering for them. That's all he hears. Now, you would think, well, okay, he's undisputed. For some people, probably, people just will hate. Anyway, he's undisputed. Anybody else that right now? Crawford was at 140, so we're going to give Crawford his love, right? There's no undisputed fighters in boxing. None. Some of them not even close. Some of them don't even try. The guys that are around him in the pound-for-pound list are not even trying to do that. Won't fight people in their own divisions. Usyk does not have anybody in his division that's pushing up on him like, oh, we should have been. He is the baddest dude in his division, and there's no doubt about it, right? Say that about anybody, someone that you like. Can't, right? So, but before that, before the tournament, right, he beat your boy Michael Hunter, who now everybody know who Michael Hunter is because especially if it's a dude from the Congo, Martin Bakoli, 6'6", 250, the guy who sparred Anthony Joshua 150 rounds and it was hyping him, okay? He's about to be the next Riddick Bowe. I've heard that quote, right? I'm not sure if that was from Frank Warren or somebody like that. I'm not going to say from who because I don't know for sure. But, hey, this is going to be the next Riddick Bowe. Sparred Anthony Joshua real good. Well, this cruiserweight who came up the heavyweight, Michael Hunter, who also only has one loss, and it's only to Usyk, right? Now we know how good this guy is. Usyk beat him, somewhere in the States. I'm not sure exactly where. But not in Kiev, not in the Ukraine, right? Another away win, right? That's awesome. That's just awesome. And, and by the way, taking O's along the way. Michael Hunter was undefeated. Boris Briedis was undefeated. Huck had 4 losses, but he was a legend. And who else did I mention? Who else? Mark Gassiev was undefeated, right? Taking O's with these guys. But that ain't even it. One before that, 2 fights before that, Glowacki. Glowacki was undefeated, right? Undefeated Polish guy. Just came off that magnificent win against Marco Huck. Your boy goes to Poland and beats him there, okay? And took his O. Taking O's in front of your families and friends. This is unprecedented in fighting right now, and this guy needs his love and props. And when talking pound for pound, his name needs to be there in front of a whole lot of guys that we're mentioning. In comparison, the guy he's fighting, Tony Bellew, who I know thoroughly believes, with all these props and all that Road Warrior stuff I'm talking about, Tony Bellew still believes he's going to beat him on November the 10th in England. Right? Tony Bellew got about 33, 34 fights. He left England once to go to Canada to get beat by Adonis Stevenson. Other than that, he's been only in England. Right? You know, there's 10 states in America that are that's bigger than England. Think about it. You ain't got to go for an hour somewhere. Tops. You know what I mean? Never have left England but one time. So, you know, I'm going for Usyk. And I like me some Bellew because Bellew got his 2 feet planted in the ground. And Bellew's about to be an awesome promoter, by the way. The dude can talk boxing. You know, he makes a lot of sense, right? You know, he's just not outlandish and stuff. On time, you know, I know he's going to, you know, he's with Matchroom. So when he talks about Joshua, he kind of loses it a little bit. But this guy, Tony Bellew, his last 4 fights, he's had KOs. He thinks he's going to knock this guy out. It's the only way. He said basically, well, Usyk ain't never had to get off the ground. Ain't never had to worry about no cuts. That's going to change when he deals with me. And I believe him. I believe Tony Bellew believes that. Totally. No doubt in my mind that he believes that. So it's going to be on. You know, but I just think, you know, when you got your promoter hat on and you're talking, like when Bellew talks about Joshua, for example, you know, he's kind of like his promoter in a way because he worked for Matchroom. And promoters can't be objective. You know, when you're talking about a stablemate and you're talking about your fighter, you know, I've seen it back in the days, Bob Arum and De La Hoya. They used to give Floyd Mayweather, guys, go look at interviews what Bob Arum used to say about Floyd Mayweather. What De La Hoya was saying about when he asked about 10 years ago who's going to win between Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao, what he said there. Man, Floyd Mayweather, he breaks you down before the fight. He gets in your head, and then in the fight, he systematically breaks you down and whatever. All of those good things. But now, they don't got nothing good to say about him. Like he changed. It's just that, you know, promoters have to do what they have to do. I think when you get promoters behind scenes, put a little alcohol in them, they might tell you the truth about things. But that's not what they're supposed to do. So we got to have to understand that as the consumer. But back to Alexander Usyk, guys. This is one of the most unprecedented things you want to see in fighting. And I just think we need to know it. This is Alexander Usyk is the bomb of the most incredible road warrior you want to see in the sport. Not knocking out everybody, but at least he's going to your crib to try to. And other than that, I don't see that, except maybe my man, all hail Julius Ndungo. For those who don't know Julius Ndungo, he was doing that. He went to Russia to beat Troyanowski, went to Scotland to beat your boy, Mr. Burns, right? Ricky Burns. And then he tried to go to fight Terrence Crawford in Nebraska, and that ain't going to happen. Terrence Crawford's #1 pound for pound. So, but still, I always like to mention Julius Ndungo because people forget people that do that. These boxers are surrounded by people who will not leave, who don't do things uncomfortable. Look at what our heavyweight champion, Anthony Joshua, 22 fights or something, has never left England. Olympics was in London. All of those 4 fights that he had in the Olympics basically would be controversial if you go look at them. So he hasn't had to deal with really adversity other than getting up from off the canvas. But it's in England, all of it. So when he hits somebody, people are cheering. So he hasn't been in an atmosphere where that's not the case. That's not good for your character. Just isn't. But I mean, you know, I'm not expecting somebody from England or a Joshua fan to agree with me. You never do. By the way, props for people to still come in and never agree when I say that, things like that. Because you know it's real. That's why you do that. Because now this is an Alexander Usyk video. And I'm going to give someone props that is doing something incredible. And I want to use the word unprecedented. Because if you guys know somebody that has done something remotely similar to Alexander Usyk, and his name is not Julius Ndungo, holla. Doma Sports Talk. Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.